The hell seen by Peter. The Apocalypse of Peter. The Apocalypse of Peter was written in the early 2nd century, and the oldest manuscripts were discovered in Greek in Akhmim, Upper Egypt. There is also a version translated into Ethiopian from the 7th or 8th century. Today, we will explore the vivid depiction of hell, found in this ancient Christian apocryphal text. This document is known as a record of a vision experienced by the Apostle Peter while he was still with the Lord. The hell that he saw is filled with very vivid and shocking scenes. In today's video, I will explain in detail the various punishments Peter witnessed in hell and their meanings. Peter was led by an angel through a vision to visit hell. When he reached the threshold and the gates opened, he saw a place full of terrifying suffering and despair. It was a place where endless flames of fire mixed with deep darkness, and sinners were endlessly tormented. He saw people immersed in a vast lake filled with burning mud. Above these people who had strayed from the right path, angels of punishment took their place. Peter saw murderers and their gangs thrown into a valley full of poisonous snakes, writhing in pain as they were bitten, crushed under swarming maggots like dark clouds. But the souls of those they had killed stood boldly above them, looking down on the punishment and saying, Oh, God, your justice is righteous. Look elsewhere. In a huge pit, people who had rejected the right path were thrown in. The angels of punishment appeared there, and set the flames of punishment upon them. There were 2 women, their necks hanging by their hair, dangling as they were thrown into the pit. These were women who had braided their hair beautifully, not for beauty's sake, but to destroy the souls of men through adultery and bring ruin. These women, along with the men who committed adultery with them, were hung by their genitals over the burning place. And they said to each other, "We did not know we would suffer eternal torment." Other men and women stood naked above them. Their children stood on the opposite side in a place of joy. The children sighed because of their parents and cried out to God, saying, "These people ignored your commandments, cursed and defied you, killed us, and blasphemed God. Now they are hung like this. They took away the light you had given us all." From the breasts of these mothers flowed milk that froze and gave off a foul stench, and beasts came out from that milk to devour the bodies of the women and torment them forever. This was because they broke God's commandments and killed their children. The children would be handed over to the angels, but those who killed their children would be punished forever as God wills. Nearby, Peter saw another valley where the lake was made of excrement and urine, and women sat with the filth rising to their chins. Opposite these women sat children who were born too early, crying. From these children burst forth flames that burned the eyes of the women. These women had conceived illegitimate children and had abortions. Other men and women stood waist deep in flames. They were thrown into dark places, where evil spirits tormented them endlessly, and maggots devoured their guts without rest. These were people who persecuted the righteous, and handed them over to suffering. Near those people stood other men and women biting their tongues, tortured with glowing red iron, and their eyes burned with fire. These people slandered and doubted God's justice. Other men and women who used deceit had their lips cut off, and fire entered their mouths and stomachs. These were people who killed martyrs with lies. In another place, sharper than knives or iron spears, burning flint stones were scattered, and men and women clothed in rags rolled around in pain. These people were rich and trusted their wealth, showing no mercy to orphans or widows, and they scorned God's commandments. In another vast lake full of filth, blood, and boiling mud, men and women stood up to their knees. Some men threw themselves repeatedly from a high mountain, but the tormentors drove them back up, forcing them to throw themselves down again. And this tortuous cycle repeated without rest. These men behaved like women who lay with men, defiling their own bodies. And these women acted like men who lay with women, defiling themselves as well. Near a cliff filled with fierce fire, stood men who made idols with their own hands instead of God. Next to them stood men and women holding glowing red iron rods, continually tormenting each other by burning them without pause. Nearby stood men and women being burned by fire, those who had rejected God's way. Our King and my Lord Jesus Christ said to me, "Come to the holy mountain." His disciples prayed and followed along. This is what the Lord's disciple Peter saw, and other disciples saw it too. In the next episode, I will guide you through the holy places. Please follow along with likes and subscriptions.